suffers from severe anorexia nervosa. Anorexia is a chronic disease she's been unable to overcome for over 9 years now. Recovery for Mandy has been almost impossible, but it's not from a lack of will nor determination to get well. Mandy cannot overcome this because she can't afford treatment. Mandy can't stay out of the hospital for malnutrition because she can't afford to see a psychiatrist. Mandy can't focus on healthy eating because she can't afford to see a dietitian. Mandy can't fully live because she can't afford to get well. I've known Mandy for years. I've sat by as she protests in Washington, as she's had countless phone calls with insurance companies looking for help. It's not right nor fair to deny coverage to people with legitimately diagnosed conditions simply because it means writing one more check or covering one more doctor's visit. Today I'm going to talk to you about why it's ethically and morally necessary for insurance companies to cover anorexia, as well as every other eating disorder. I'm going to outline some of the excuses that insurance companies use to deny coverage, as well as why it's necessary for them to provide coverage. I'm going to begin with why health insurance is typically denied coverage. The most common buzzword associated with the denial of coverage is non-essential. And this is exactly how it sounds. Basically, health insurance companies decide that these conditions, anorexia specifically, are not important enough. But this is not from a lack of seriousness or severity. According to the Eating Disorder Coalition, in a survey of 100 specialists, 96.7% believe their patients with anorexia are put into life-threatening situations due to a lack of treatment when coverage is denied. When you consider that, also according to the EDC, 14 million people are affected by eating disorders. That is roughly 13 million people who are facing death each year without anywhere to turn for help. That is more than the populations of New York City, Chicago, and San Diego combined. So I want to take a second and I want to think about New York City. I want you to think about September 11th. I want you to imagine that every single person in the city witnessed the tragedy there. That's probably not far from the truth for most residents, but I want you to imagine that they not only witnessed it, but they saw horrifying scenes of death and despair. And then I want you to imagine they all go to their insurance companies with emotional trauma, seeking help. And their insurance companies say, no, that's non-essential. It's a mental condition. We now have an entire city facing suicide, death, and all other types of mental and emotional conditions stemming from that. That's essentially what we say to people when we deny them coverage for their eating disorder. We tell them it's non-essential, it's not important enough. Oftentimes, insurance companies may cover the side effects of anorexia while not actually covering the anorexia itself. Malnutrition and dehydration, as well as heart-related issues, are the most common cause of hospitalization in anorexia patients. And while it's necessary and important to cover these, it doesn't cover the root cause of the issue. It's like going to the hospital with food allergies or with hives from a food allergy and being treated for the hives but being told you have to go home and continue to eat the food. Not treating the root cause of the problem does nothing but create more problems. Additionally, insurance companies have a larger liability with the side effects than if they would just treat the anorexia in the first place. Now that you understand why some health insurance companies typically deny coverage, let's talk about why it's necessary. According to the South Carolina Department of Mental Health, only 1 in 10 people will seek treatment for eating disorders and receive it. If we do some math again, we come out with a number of 12,600,000 people who go without any professional help for a potentially life-threatening condition. We're used to hearing these statistics when it comes to clean drinking water or medical care in third world countries, and that's unacceptable and heartbreaking, but it's no excuse in our country. We have the resources. We have the ability. All we need are insurance companies to do more than the bare minimum. As we talked about before, there are dozens of issues associated with anorexia. Problems range from depression and anger, heart defects and bone loss, to thoughts and intents of suicide. These issues increase with the progress of the disorder. Essentially, the worse the disorder gets, the more likely we're going to see death. With treatment, 20% of people who suffer from anorexia will die. With treatment, that number falls to 2 to 3%. The difference there? 2.5 million people. I appreciate you taking the time to hear me today. Many insurance companies deny coverage for anorexia because it's not essential, and that is not right nor fair. Statistics show us that even though anorexia is considered a mental ailment, it is just as serious as many physical ailments. Treating only the side effects, not the cause, is a vicious cycle that does nothing more than create pain and anguish for the patient and more money in the long run for the insurance company. We have the ability to help. We can ensure that 17% of the people who die without treatment will live to get married, to have children, or just graduate high school. We can tell insurance companies that human lives are more important than their bottom line. You can tell the person in your life suffering from an eating disorder that they're more than a statistic. Those 2.5 million people matter. When this issue shows up on your ballot, and it will sooner or later, I'm asking you to vote for people that have a chance. I'm asking you to vote for people who pay for their health insurance to not be denied coverage. I'm asking for you to vote like people like Mandy,